Thank you for being with me as we paint a snowman with a tree. So I have drawn on the canvas, however, your canvas will be blank, and I will provide a tracer for your snowman that you see here, and a uh, image, the original image, so that you know where your work, um, where your objects are supposed to be on your work. So, because once we start the background painting, all of this will disappear. So the first part of this is probably the easiest. I have already put down white, my darker brown, and my lighter brown. Your colors might be slightly different than mine. They show a little different on the camera. I start with light colors. I'm beginning right here in the middle. This is the white, and just one coat really isn't enough to cover all of the pencil marks that you see. And if you see any discoloration in your white, that's okay too. That's just from the lead of the pencil. And I touched a little bit of brown, so now you can see some of that coming through. Now I'm going to go for my lighter color, and I'm actually going to pull that through just a little bit there. We want this to gradually go to a darker brown. It is making a circular shape, which will basically highlight the top part of the snowman and the tree when he is reaching up to it. So it's bringing our eyes toward the focal point. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead with my darker brown, and I want it to overlap because that's where we can get our blending in, so it doesn't look like it's like a striped. And this isn't particularly, there's not like one way to do this as far as how much brown. You just play with it until you like it. You can always make changes. Okay, I'm going to take some of this darker brown and I'm going into my lighter. I'm just wanting it to be a little less broken up. I want it to be have a gentler fade. Now this is the largest brush that you have that I'm using. If you paint on your own at home, a good option would be to use actually a like a poofy makeup brush. That's really good for the large backgrounds. And they're cheap. They're super soft and they hold a ton of color. Okay. Now, the thing with this is that you can just keep painting and keep painting and keep painting until all of the color just becomes one, or until it starts drying on you. And okay, so what I've noticed with mine is I don't have my center quite as white as what I want. So I'm going to come back in. I'm going to kind of wipe my brush. I'm not really washing it. I'm just wiping it off. I do that a lot just because once you add water to your brush, sometimes it can make your colors runnier than what you really wanted. Okay. Now I have to let that dry before I paint anything on top of it. So while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and fill my bottom with white. If I have a little bit of brown on my brush, that's fine. Because see, when I get to here, you see where it starts kind of blending. That's fine. So now you can see why a drawn background really wouldn't work very well, because it would all be painted. Okay. Now, using my dark brown, right down here, I'm going to make like a triangle. Okay, and then now since this paint is still really wet, it's mixing, and that's fine because we're just kind of drawing our line direction for the tree. I figured we'd go ahead and do that and let it dry all the way so we can add the rest of our paint there. You can also at this time go ahead and do just some little branches. Some of these can be curved. You can also make some have branches coming off of branches. In fact, this area here, it's kind of nice to do that because there is an ornament that the snowman is going to be hanging, and it gives a little bit more room. Okay, so this just kind of tells you where it's going to be. Now, you guys are going to have a tracer for your snowman, and I don't. I'm not using a tracer. Well, you know what? Maybe I will. That way I can show you how to, the best way to use the tracer. But in the meantime, we need to let this dry.